Hey guys, in today's video, we're checking out some personal in-ear monitor systems. We're checking out the Behringer P2 and the Donner EM1. These are both portable personal in-ear monitor systems or headphone amplifiers or whatever you want to call them. Basically what it's used is you plug in either XLR or quarter inch in here, and then your headphones plug in here on the top, and you have a volume control to turn up or down the volume. Pretty simple, pretty basic, but pretty necessary. Especially great if you don't want to spend the money on like a wireless in-ear monitor system or something like that. This is great, especially for like a drummer or a bassist that doesn't move around a lot, or a keyboard player. These both cost around $30 to $40, so it can save you a lot of money. So this is a great place to start if you're interested in starting with in-ear monitors. And I actually did do a video of an in-ear monitor hack using one of these types of systems. You can get a wireless in-ear monitor system for about $100, and I'll link to that at the end of the video. The main reason why I'm doing this video is I've recommended the Behringer P2 a lot. I use it a lot. It's a good system, but it always seems to be on back order. So I tried the Donner EM1 and to see how it compares. Also, just to let you know that I'm personally going over the ones that only have one input in the bottom because that's normally what I use. However, each of these both have counterparts that have two of them. It's kind of confusing. This is the EM1 by Donner. The EM2 has two inputs. This is the Behringer P2 for some reason, but the P1 is the one that has two inputs. A little bit confusing, but they do have dual inputs if you are interested in running these in like stereo or something like that. And I'll cover that in the video, but I just wanted to tell you that that option does exist for both of these products. And I will post links down below where you can check them out for yourself if you're interested in purchasing them. So before we get started, I post videos like this all the time, stuff on music gear, cheap music gear you can find on Amazon, in-ear monitors, wireless, HX Stomp, MIDI programming, stuff like that. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to ring the bell. All right, let's get started. So both of these are very similar. However you're getting your in-ear monitor feed or whatever you're trying to listen to that you need volume control of, you plug in here in the bottom, you plug your headphones in on the top, and you have your volume control. It's the same thing with this one. Plug it on the top, turn it up or down. The main difference is that this one, you switch on right here. It has a light so you can tell that it's on and turn it off. Whereas with this one, the way that you turn it on is did you hear the click? So that's off, turn it on, and set your volume accordingly. Pretty simple. Okay, so first of all, something I like about these is that they both accept XLR and quarter inch inputs. So you can plug in quarter inch or XLR into either of them. Keep in mind that the XLR on both of them does have like the safety mechanism right here, or whatever it's called, where you have to push in order to unplug it so you don't accidentally unplug it, which I really like. Both of them have a clip so that you can attach this to your belt, so it can live on you, or you can attach it to a mic stand or whatever, you know, works best for you for attaching, which is nice. The main difference is that the Donner one has a built-in battery area here, so that's how you charge, just charges over micro USB. Plug it in and it charges. Whereas the Behringer, you push this knob right here and push down and it opens, and it takes two AAA batteries. So built-in battery versus the AAA battery. The main difference, I think, between the two of these is that this one does not have a stereo to mono switch. The EM2 does, which accepts two inputs and you can switch that. This one, however, does have a switch. When you go in here, you see where it says stereo to mono? You probably won't be able to see the little switch in there, but you just switch it over and now it's in stereo, or you switch it back and it's in mono. One of the things though about the EM1, it says that if you connect an XLR in here, according to the manual, when the XLR is connected to a balanced input, the EM1 will output in a way of balanced mono. When a TRS cable is connected to an unbalanced input, the EM1 will output an unbalanced stereo. So why that matters is a lot of reasons why people will use these is they'll have a backing track and it's on an iPad, and then in the iPad you have your tracks, your backing tracks panned all the way to the right, and then your click track panned all the way to the left. And then what you do is you plug the left input into one of these, and then your drummer or whoever listens to those and they just get the click track in their ears, and then the front of house mixes the backing tracks. If you don't know how to do that, I did a whole tutorial video on how to set that up, so be sure to check that out. So the problem with not being able to switch this from stereo to mono is you'll just, in that situation, you'll just hear click in your left ear. That's the way that it works. And I did a video about that as well, of why am I getting click in only one ear. And spoiler alert, it's because you need to switch it from stereo to mono. And again, this one does not have that option. With the Behringer system, if you are getting a click just in the left side of the ear, switch it to mono. With this one, you do have to get the little adapter in order to change that. Although, like I said, the EM2 actually has that switch, so you might want to just go ahead and get the EM2 if that's what you're looking for, especially since it's only like another $7 or so. Again, it's not the end of the world, but that's how it works. All right, so looking at some of the specs online for the P2, and the way they advertise it is, if you're a keyboardist, drummer, or other musician whose performance keeps them anchored in one spot, this is a great system. So you do, as it mentions, you do have mono or stereo, which is great that you have that option. You have your volume control up here on the top. You have a handy belt clip, as they call it. It accepts XLR or TRS input. It runs up to 12 hours with 2 AAA batteries. Built like a tank, which I agree. This thing is really solid, super well built. And that's basically it. I mean, it's a very, very simple system. With the EM1, it's also very similar, but except it has a built-in battery. And it says that the battery life is up to 12 hours. So those are very, very similar. It takes 4 hours to charge the built-in battery, which is fine. Just charge it overnight. It has the max output volume. For me, all honesty, I've never had to turn this past halfway ever. Like it's really loud. Both of them actually, I've never had to turn up past halfway. Most of the time you just have to go about there and you've got plenty of volume. Okay, so next up I'm going to do the sound test. Now, what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to play 2 different clips. I'm just going to plug in just like a phone, send a signal in here, send it out of the headphone into my audio interface. So here's one of them. And here's the other one. Could you tell a difference? Did one of them sound better than the other one? If you do actually think that one of them sounds better than the other one, I want you to go back. I want you to listen to the second one first and then listen to the first one second. Do you still think one sounds better than the other one? If so, check in the description and I'll let you know the results of which one was which. If they both sounded fine to you, it doesn't matter, and both of these will work for you. I personally think we just get so caught up in tone and which one sounds better, and my tone philosophy is, does it sound good? If so, use it. So to me, both of these sound great, and I don't hear really any problems with these. Okay, and then just something quick with each of the other ones, the ones that have 2 inputs on each of them. So on the Donner one, the EM2, it does also come with a switch. You can see that there's a switch to switch from stereo to mono, which is great. So it does have a second headphone jack as well, which is nice. I don't see it being super useful, but it is possible that you could use that and split it with another musician. The thing that I really like about this is it has this blend knob here where you can listen to more of what's plugged into input 1 and more of what's plugged into input 2, or, have it 50-50. So that could be really beneficial if you have like a click track into 1 and then you're getting like an entire mix plugged into number 2, and then you can blend accordingly. So if you're not getting enough click, you can turn up the click, but if you need a little bit more mix, you can do that. So that's actually really nice about this system. And ultimately, I actually kind of think that if you're going to get one of the EM systems by Donner, I would just go with the EM2 personally, because if you have all these extra features. But other than that, most of the specs are pretty much the exact same thing. With the Behringer P1, the only thing about that you should keep in mind is that it does not accept 1/4 inch or TRS cables. It's only XLR. You can get these adapters if you want, and I'll link those down below as well in case if you need those. But if you do want a dual input and you want it to be TRS or 1/4 inch, in that case, I would recommend going with the EM2. So the Donner one is listed at about $41 and the P1 is about $60. So it's a little bit more expensive. So that leads me to my personal recommendations on these. If you do need 2 inputs, I would say the EM2 is probably the way to go, just because it accepts 1/4 inch and XLR, and it has a mono stereo switch, whereas the P1 does have the mono stereo switch, but it only accepts XLR. My personal opinion, as far as these, the main ones that I've been demoing, the main thing that I like about the Behringer one over this one. I would say that the Behringer one is definitely built stronger. It's like a metal. It's super strong. This one feels a little more flimsy. But again, as long as you're not throwing it around, I mean, it's going to be fine. So I don't think that's a deal breaker. I do, however, like that this one's a little more sturdy and well built. I personally like to have the battery in here, because if for some reason the battery dies, I would just have another pair of AAAs around. And speaking of which, I will post links down below to get rechargeables. Definitely get rechargeables, you know, especially a 4-pack of AA batteries. It'll save you money by the time you recharge it once anyways, instead of throwing them out and getting new ones. It's not expensive at all, and I definitely would recommend that. I personally just like having the AAAs, as opposed to this one where if I forget to charge it, you just kind of have to plug it in anyways. You can't just change out the battery. That's the main reason that I like this one. However, that's not a deal breaker for either of them. They're both great units. So like I said, the Behringer one is almost always on back order. I mean, this one, the Donner EM1, seems to always be available. Again, none of these are deal breakers. I just kind of prefer that one mostly because of the batteries. But this one, I would never complain if I used this one instead. And I think it's still a great unit as well. So that's basically it. Both of these are really good systems, especially for the price, you know, $30 to $40. It's really a good deal. So those are my personal recommendations about it. Hope you guys found this helpful. If you made it to the end of this video, if you could do me a favor and just hit the like button, it does a lot to help the YouTube algorithm out. So I'd really appreciate it. Helps recommend my channel to more viewers. While we're on the topic of cheap in-ear monitors, I did just recently do a video about cheap in-ear monitor earbuds that I found for $20 to $50. I'll give you a little spoiler alert. That $50 one sounds almost as good as my $1,000 in-ear monitors, in my opinion. It sounds really good, and I was really impressed with that. So check out that video if you're interested in checking out some cheap in-ear monitors that isn't going to break the bank. Like I said, links are in the description down below. If you guys do decide to purchase any of these items based on my recommendations, using the links down below, they are Amazon affiliate links, so it does give me a small commission at no extra charge to you, so I would appreciate it. Thank you guys again for watching. Check out some of my other music gear reviews by clicking one of the playlists on the screen. Don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you guys again for watching. Leave a comment if you know any cool gear you want me to check out, and I'll see you next time.